Well, welcome back to another Power Talk podcast. And anyway, it's good to have you with us. I'm telling you, we've over the last couple of months have been, coming directly to you. You can watch us on YouTube. You can watch us through Spotify, or even just listen to us. Yeah. Either way, we're just hoping more than anything that you're enjoying it. Mm-hmm. We hope that some of these teachings are valuable, that some things that you can add to your repertoire of understanding and knowledge. Mm-hmm. But most of all, we know that the Spirit of the Lord is upon all of this. Mm-hmm. And so definitely
that's good.
Take in these things. Take the time to take a few little notes.
That's good.
Seek them out in Scripture. Some things, sometimes we're very Scripture heavy. Sometimes we're not Scripture heavy. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, they're all very very much embedded from the Word of God. Mm-hmm. And so we don't talk just good ideas. We talk about things that are biblical and things that are important to our lives. And so anyway, it's great to have you with us. And so we have Pastor Matthew with us today. What's up,
Pastor?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, nothing much, man.
And so today we're going to talk a little bit about how to face the future. Mm-hmm. Because that I think a lot of times we're always in pursuit of it, but I don't think we really know how we're going to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And so today, Matthew, I would love for you to help me kind of kick this thing off.
Absolutely. Facing our future, Pastor, it feels like sometimes like a dog chasing his tail.
Yeah, we do feel like it's going in circles. The best way to put it,
Pastor, we feel like we're going in circles.
I agree.
The effort is there. It's going. We're crying. We're praying and fasting and pursuing knowledge and wisdom. And it feels like we're just going in circles, Pastor, regarding facing our future.
I agree. I think that's the hardest part is that we know that God gives us a call. Mm. He calls us out or he calls us up, but he's calling on us either way, And I think a lot of times we're just like, Lord, you've put a desire, you've put a purpose in my heart. Mm-hmm. There's something that we just naturally gravitate to.
Yeah.
But we can't seem to ever attain any of it. Mm-hmm. We can't seem to quite ever get there, right?
Yes.
And so for most people, they kind of give up on their pursuits. Mm-hmm. They give up on their pursuits depending on how the day went.
Yeah.
Right? How many times have we woke up in the morning, we have this day already kind of there's like this pre-thought of what we want to do, right?
Right.
Of what we're going to do. And then something comes up, and it's like there's that proverbial monkey wrench. Mm-hmm. And you're kind of like, man, I didn't get nothing accomplished today.
Right.
I didn't get nothing what I wanted to do. Right. I think that's the way our future comes. We start off really well, and then when we find out that, like, no matter how hard we're trying to pursue it, 2-3 months down the road, it's kind of like the working out. We'll work out really good for several weeks.
Right.
And then it's like we take a break because we had a couple of you do it around the holidays.
We do.
You start eating junk food, and it's like after you've eaten the junk food, working out doesn't matter, right?
You tend to give up.
Right. And in some cases, it's the other way around. We've done nothing but eat bad all year, and then after the junk food, we try to go back into working out for the next few weeks, and we still quit.
Right.
I think that's the way life is that we shoot up like this.
Right.
But we also fall straight down.
Right.
We go up like this, but we fall straight down.
Right.
So the graph looks like a nice steady climb, like we're going in the right direction.
Right.
But when we fall hard.
Exactly. The effort is there. The desire is there.
Yeah.
But what's missing, Pastor?
Right.
What's missing? And you have a question. The very first question is, can I afford to give up?
And I know that deep down that's the question in all of us is that, do I even want to start? Because we know we might give up.
Ooh.
And so once you get there,
I like that.
Here's the problem, is that if you decide to go forward to it, you've got to tell yourself, I cannot afford to give up. Because we can't afford to. Usually 99% of the time when somebody pursues something that's worthwhile, it's always going to be important. It's going to be important to you because it's going to keep forcing you to go forward. It's going to be important maybe to your family if you're married, because it's going to be important for them to see how you continue to pursue it. It's going to be important to your marriage. It's going to be important to your business. It's going to be important to your friendships.
Right.
But we never look at it beyond what it is I feel. This is where feelings get in the way. So I always say, well, what do you feel?
Right.
I don't know. I just don't feel like doing it.
Right.
Okay, that's kind of like the problem with what we talked about excellence when it comes to maturity.
Yeah.
We always like to talk about what we think rather than what we know. And the same way with Florida, I like to do what I feel rather than what I should do.
Exactly. So staying with that, determination is a big factor when it comes to pursuing our future, our goals.
Yeah, it is. It really is, because you've got to get into the thick of things and say, I can't not only not afford to quit, it's not an option anymore.
I like what you said, because to me, I had a visual at the starting line.
Yeah.
Like everyone's there.
Yeah.
And you're saying, even though these guys look good, they might beat me, I will never give up.
Yeah.
It's how you approach the starting line. When you said that, I got a vivid picture of that's what it should look like in our lives in approaching our dreams.
If you watch the Olympics, as long as the marathon runners can make it to the finish, remember, you only get rewarded for what positions in the Olympics?
First through third.
First through third. And yet there's going to be 100 runners in the marathon representing all different nations, right?
Right.
Okay, so if you watch those marathons, when the first 3 people make it and the other 97 are not going to get a medal, you'll still see number 100 still come across the finish line.
It's about crossing. Whoa.
It's about finishing. It's about doing what you're supposed to do. You may not be doing it as fast as everybody else. You may not be as great at it as everybody else. You may never be the top dog. But I'm going to tell you, there's value in finishing what you started. There's value in it, because sometimes it's a personal win. Sometimes it's a win that everybody else says, wow, he did it. Just that alone, to see the 100 guys, the 100th place finisher, say, wow, he had no reason to keep running, but he kept on doing it. You see what an example that is to everybody else? This is the most amazing thing in our world, in our life, is that we get to watch others do what will not reward them, but it is rewarding the people that are watching.
Right.
Because it's a healthy thing for them to say, it didn't matter what happened, but it happens what matters to me.
Wow. It's so good. So determination is, no matter what I place in the race, I'm going to cross that finish line.
Right. And so some people say, well, that's discipline. No, the discipline came in the working out.
Yeah, the discipline got you there.
The discipline put you in the position to race. That's not discipline anymore. This is why I say, Paul always says that we should enter it in as if we're in a boxing match or a race.
Right.
He's not saying be disciplined. He's saying be determined. In other words, the boxer that wants to win, even when he gets knocked out. I was watching a fight the other day. I was watching a boxing match.
Yeah.
No exaggeration. The first 2 rounds, it was a championship fight boxing match, and this guy got rocked in the first round. Honestly, it looked close enough that the referee should have stopped it. Even the commentators were like, you should stop it. He ended up, I don't know how he did it, but he's wobbling back to the corner. Second round comes out, same thing. He almost, honestly, you would have thought, this is not good. You should stop it.
Yes.
Because he looked that bad. But for whatever reason, the ref didn't stop it. He ended up fighting through, and then by the 7th round, he knocked the other guy out.
Wow.
You see, it was determination. It wasn't discipline.
Wow.
Discipline put him in the position to be determined. Determination is far more important than even discipline. So this is why a lot of people say,
Ooh, I like that.
When I work out, I work out, and you got to be disciplined. Problem is with discipline is that disciplines come and go because it's based off of how I feel a lot of times. So I feel like I really want to be healthy and strong. So I do all the right stuff. You see, it was still an emotion.
Right.
Because that's why you did it.
Right.
And so discipline was based off your first prerequisite, and that was an emotion. Think about it. I just feel like, man, I need to start getting healthy. Okay, the fact is, you said you feel like it.
Right.
Now, what stems from that feeling? Discipline. You see, discipline's built into the emotion. So I tell people, quit going based off discipline. Just be determined.
Wow.
That means it doesn't matter what I feel. It doesn't matter what I think. I have to. I can't afford to give up.
Wow. That's good.
And so so this is why I said, when you create a lifestyle like that, it's amazing what you do, because even if I skipped a couple of days, so to speak, in my training,
you're gonna go right back to
determination goes back. Discipline says, I don't feel like it no more. And then you go 6 months down the road.
And you're right, because discipline will say that, I'll make some alterations. I won't eat sweet today. I won't overdo it today.
Right.
And in one regard, but you're still missing out in the workout.
Right. And so determination now puts me in a different frame of mind, because it's not about what I feel at all. It's just the fact that I have to.
You work out harder.
Uh-huh.
All the more harder after 2 days.
Yeah.
Determination.
Exactly. So if I skip a couple days, I work out harder, because determination says, no, I'm back. I'm back. And this is a good thing, and it's healthy for us, right?
That's good. And pursuing our dreams,
And pursuing our dreams.
Yes.
So there's been times when you're talking about the pursuit of dreams and purposes and callings and desires, one of the things I've always been a guy that's been in the pursuit. I haven't always did it at the highest level,
sure,
but I've always stayed determined. There's been times I could have given up the church in a heartbeat, just because it wasn't going the way I wanted, the way I liked it, how I thought it should have, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But nope, determination says I got to hang in there. And what happens is it forces me to have a different mentality than a disciplined mentality. A disciplined mentality says, I just don't feel like it no more. I just don't think this is going to work anymore. And this is why most people give up and quit. And I tell people all the time, that's the problem, is disciplined is birthed from something specific. Determination isn't birthed from anything. It's just what you know.
Exactly.
I can't afford to give up.
That's good.
It's not an option. It'd be like me saying, I have $10 million in a bank account. I can afford to go burn all of it in a fire. No, you can't. You can't afford to do that, because it's not something you're just going to go re-get again. You're not going to go get that $10 million someplace.
Right.
You can't afford to just give up $10 million.
Right.
So what you do is you methodically do whatever it takes, because it's just necessary to make sure that you protect that, right? If it's a nest egg, if it's a retirement, or most of us don't ever have 10 million, but if we ever did attain that, you do what it takes to protect it. It's not about an emotion or a feeling or a discipline. I put on clothes every day. I've never said, I just need to be more disciplined on putting on my clothes.
Yeah.
You just do it. You're determined to get up, put clothes on, and go out for the day.
That's good.
Why? Because clothes is just a part of life. And determined things should be just come a part of your life.
That's good. That's good. The definition, real quick, on determination, Pastor, being resolved not to change it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just to resolve. Because, again, I'm not against discipline.
No.
But I find more people fail with discipline than they do just by doing what's right. And so how can you face the future if everything that you do is hinged upon, what do I feel?
Yeah.
What do I think? What do I want? The problem is with that is your wants change all the time.
They do.
So when you go to face the future, you've got to find something that keeps the motivation always there, even when you are not motivated.
I see that.
Even when you're unmotivated.
Especially when you're unmotivated.
Especially when you're unmotivated. And so, this is why a lot of people become stalled. But in reality, if you understand these things, you'll be able to face it, because there are going to be problems that come with facing the future too.
Yes.
So.
Wow.
So. You have any other good questions that you want to?
I sure do. In regards to facing our future, and we talked about dreams, can you see it? Do you have the ability to see what you're desiring, what you want? Can you see it? Can this person see it?
Some people have a stronger ability to visualize what it is that they see. Some people, and it all depends on how that's built. So let me give you an example. One person is going to, whatever it is that they see, is going to be based off of what happened to them.
Oh, okay.
So, for instance...
You're going to therapy here. I mean, this is good.
Yeah, this is going to be really good, because everybody develops their vision from something different. It's all cut from something different. So a lot of times whenever I talk to like when I used to minister in the jails or youth camps, almost any time that there was a salvation, where was the one type of people that those type of people wanted to minister to? It was people like themselves. You don't know how many when you'd get a little gangbanger saved, who did they want to go minister to? Gangbangers, right? Because that was the vision that they could see, because that made the most sense to them. If I can get out of it, I can help them get out of it.
Yeah.
And so their future is predicated on what it is that they think that they can do for the people that are very much like them. So that's where these visions come from.
Oh,
now
to make it better.
To make it better. Now, is it from God? It could be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm not even there yet. That could be just something that just maybe it is a God thing. I do not know. But you'll find that a lot of times that when people come out of a certain lifestyle, like I remember a couple of young people that got saved that were in the foster care system. Guess who they really wanted to minister to? They wanted to take care of foster care kids and help with foster care. Why? Because they were one, but they wanted to make it better.
Wow.
So that's how their division comes to pass.
They seen it.
They seen it.
Yes. Like you said, they had to love it. They loved what they saw within themselves, and now they want to give it to others.
Yes, they think they have answers they believe that can help that group of people or that situation or thing.
It's the answer.
It's the answer, yeah. And then other people are just kind of hardwired, kind of bent towards certain things. Like you get people that are bent towards business, and what happens is that it's not necessarily that they were necessarily poor or anything. They just tend to be bent towards trying to be a good business person. And the reason is because they know that there's certain advantages to owning a business if they can get it to be successful.
True.
And for some, that's all different reasons. Some, they have a story. They want to help others in other countries with that money that they would earn.
Right.
Some, it's because they just want a better life. Some, it's because of what they can attain because of them. There's multiple different reasons, but they have a little vision, and it's just kind of birthed in them to kind of pursue that.
Ooh, I like that other word, vision.
Yes. And then there's other people that have a purpose that's based off their call, and then they have to, and for me, it was a call. When the Lord began to touch my heart, I just knew I wanted to go help others, to minister to others in some capacity or another.
Yes.
And it was early on, God showed me what that would be. So was that a vision that I orchestrated on my own? Not at all. He showed it to me, and I've been in pursuit of that ever since.
Wow.
It's only what He wants.
Wow.
And so you've got multiple different layers and levels to what it is that you're seeing, and you've got to face that.
Now, Pastor, in regards to the call, how did you position yourself to hear the voice of God when you saw that, would you say?
Well, in the early days, I was just so excited and so hungry for the things of God. I always just kept asking Him, Lord, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? Because what I would have wanted to do and what I knew God wanted me to do, I knew were probably two different things.
Of course, and you were a good painter prior to the call.
I was great with my hands.
Yes.
I even was a good handyman, so I was getting asked to do handyman stuff and painting.
Yes.
So I was going to do my own handyman service because I'm prone to do business stuff. I like business. And so being that, and I was good with my hands,
yes.
I was like, man, I was looking to go into my own little handyman service. I had already a built-in clientele somewhat.
Yeah, you knew a lot of people.
I knew a lot of people. I knew a couple of realtors, and I even knew a property manager who wanted to utilize me a lot.
Wow.
And so I knew that I was going to get started off and get going in the right direction. It would have been no problem.
Yes.
But at the same time, I got rededicated my life to the Lord, and I also knew, like, Lord, what do you want? So I knew that what I wanted to do, I wanted to go into business for myself, but I knew that what God would want me to do might look different. And I knew that within just a couple of months of rededicating my life, I knew that God wanted me to go into ministry. So I went ahead and pursued business for a short time. But I knew that ultimately it was going to lead me into the ministry, and that's what it ultimately did. And then from there, I asked God, what is it that's my ultimate call and vision for my life, the purpose of my life?
Yeah.
And what He showed me, I had to be willing to deal with that. I had to face that future.
Wow. That is
so
good.
they come in multiple different layers and directions.
But you surrendered essentially to the Lord, saying, God, what do you want for my life?
Yes, exactly. That's why we have to be careful not to be too distracted in those things. You know, we talked about determination, but when you're facing that future where God's leading you, or wherever you feel like your heart kind of leans towards, whatever that is, however that is, you've got to be careful, because the one thing that will break, in fact, it's the one thing that breaks discipline in a heartbeat.
Okay.
But it's also a thing that can also break determination.
Okay.
Is distraction. It's distraction.
Oh my gosh. Relationships can be distractions.
Yes, relationships can be distractions. Getting focused on something else that's kind of exciting that really has nothing to do with what your future, where your future lies, can be a distraction. So you have to be really careful, you know, not to get hung up on, "Ooh, I like this." You know, I'm a guy that I love sports. I grew up, I was pretty good in racquetball. Competitive. I've been very blessed. So I've played in golf tournaments, and I've won tournaments. Not on my own, but like with a group, like when we go play scrambles or best ball.
Yes.
I've been on the on like 3 different occasions we took first place. But that's fun to do.
Yeah.
It's not saying like I'm looking like professional level, but on a fun level, I'd love to go play more golf and do that.
Yeah.
Racquetball, same thing. I've always been pretty good at it, and I've won lots of trophies when I was younger. I still love it today, that if you put me in a position where I had the opportunity, I'd probably go do that more often and go play a little bit more tournaments. You know, things like that.
You said many years ago that you were golfing twice a week or 3 times a week.
Yeah, I was golfing twice a week. Sometimes I'd hit a third time.
And the Lord told you what, Pastor? Because you were helping the church at the same time.
Yeah, at the time the Lord told me, if I'm going to further you, if you're going to go further and in this calling, you're going to have to give up the 1 day a week of golf. And so I did. I gave up the 1 day that he told me. He says, I want you to start going to midweek services. I want you to be available. I want you to start growing and learning. And so that's what I did. I started going during the midweek, and I gave up an extra day of golf. Before you know it, I just basically was playing golf once every couple of months.
Yes.
And so the point being is that I love these things. I could easily get hooked on them. And be distracted by them, and just pursue it, and go have fun in life. Because that's my nature. I love competition. I love the opportunity to say, "Hey, let's go win something." You know, let's go. I just love it. But then I also enjoy handyman work. I love that type of stuff. I love business.
And like you said just a moment ago, this is where we get hooked on feelings by distraction. There's a feeling associated with everything you've accomplished and everything you've done. You talked about a feeling that came with it.
Because distraction pulls you because it's easily because it's easy to get emotionally attached to it. Because that's all a distraction comes with. It comes with attachments. It comes with attachments. And one of those attachments hooks to that emotion that's with it, especially if it's something you enjoy, if it's something you like. So that's where distractions come. Look, you're never distracted by things you don't care about.
Exactly.
Right?
There's no feeling associated with that.
There's no feeling associated with it. So a distraction has like a grappling hook, and it throws it over on you, and it says, here's something I know you like. And what is that? It's whatever is something you enjoy, something that you have an emotional attachment to. And that's where distractions come from.
Wow.
And so it becomes the thing that you have to be careful, because you'll never attain your future if you're always being distracted.
I was getting ready to say that. Because you eliminated the distractions, God was working on your future.
Yes, exactly.
Because you willfully determined to get rid of the distractions.
Yes.
By obeying God.
Yes, you've got to get rid of those distractions. And am I saying you shouldn't do those things at times?
No.
No, but learn to put them in a very small compartment where they can't suck you in. So I do. I still play racquetball.
Yeah.
But I go sometimes months without playing.
Wow.
And it's one of the things I love the most, actually, of all sports.
You're pretty passionate about it.
I am. I could be passionate about it. I still teach guys racquetball.
That's cool.
They still talk to me, and I teach them. I understand nuances of the game that at a high level, because I used to play with like pro level players.
Yes.
And I still understand things about racquetball that some of the older guys that are even older than me that didn't know. And so I teach people, and when I share with them how court presence and how to initiate more power into your swing, and how to make the proper shot selections and your thought processes, and I know all of these, a lot of these things.
Yes.
And so the point being is that when you put all those things together, I'm like, oh man, I could dive into that,
Yes.
but I don't, because I know that it could be a distraction. I compartmentalize it into something that's so small that if distraction tried to hook it, it'd miss it. The hardest thing to hit is a small target.
Yes, it is.
So I make my target of that racquetball very small. In other words, I don't put as much time into it. I don't think about it much anymore. I don't put a lot of head space to it. So that way the distraction doesn't connect me to it.
Because you value your future.
Because I value my future. I'm telling you, I hope more people listen to this one because
sure.
they want to get to this. They have this vision. They have this purpose they know they're called to in life, right? They have this desire and they know possibly it's even from God.
Yeah.
But they can't quite get there because they're distracted by so many other things.
You say this in the notes. The future is your decision.
Yeah. The future's a decision. So here we go. We got discipline.
Determination.
We got determination. Those two things are good. But then you've got distraction, and then you've got what? What did you just say?
Decision.
Decision. See, decisions can be good or bad too.
You're going to make one.
Because you're going to make one.
You're going to make one.
You're going to make one. And you'd be surprised how many people will make a decision based off of what they think. And again, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about when we were talking about excellence too.
Yes.
The decision is based off of what they think rather than what they know. Here's what I always tell people. Don't make those decisions until you know. Because if you make the wrong decision, it makes it sometimes very hard to get back in line with the vision or the future that you're pursuing.
That's really good because you make a wrong decision, it's going to prolong the inevitable.
Yes.
Where you're there longer now.
That's right. You're stuck out here out in the middle of nowhere. When your future is over here, you're over here.
Yeah.
You're not even on the same path anymore because you can't do both. This decision over here, I see a lot of people do that. I've seen, you know how many people I've heard over the years, they know that they've been called to ministry, but they made a decision to do this thinking this is going to get them to ministry.
Yeah.
And God didn't tell them that.
Yeah.
He told them, no, you stay this direction. This is the direction you go.
There it is.
So remember, your direction is more important than sometimes even your decision.
Direction. Staying course.
Just stay the course.
Stay the course.
Just stay the course. Then you don't have to then you don't have to make you're going to have to always make decisions anyway.
Yeah.
But it should never be off the direction that God's already aimed you at.
This should be called the D podcast. It's a bunch of D words.
It's a bunch of well, it is. It's
You know?
you're right. It's a line of D's here.
Exactly.
And if you understand how to put those in the proper order,
It's going to point you, man.
it'll point you in the right direction. This is why I've know people that are in their 50s and they're frustrated. Why am I not? God's not answering. God showed me this, but how come it's not happening?
Yes.
I know people that are very close to me, and if they would just sit and talk to me, you don't know how many people I wish would just talk to me and say, look, I can tell you why you're not going to hit the target. I can tell you right now, because your decisions here have taken you off the direct path of your course.
Yes, yes.
You think that that's going to help you, but it's not.
Right.
And so what I realize is that people don't know how to make the proper decisions, so therefore they're not even going in the right direction.
Wow.
So.
Wow. I'm looking at the definition for distractions really quick here. A thing that prevents someone from giving full attention to something.
There you go. Say it again. I love that.
Absolutely. A thing that prevents someone from giving full attention to something.
And what is that? That's
distraction.
Distraction. And so we got problems with distractions. We got a problem with our decision. And then we got a problem with our direction. And I'm going to tell you, it first starts with the distraction. Once you're hooked onto the distraction because of that emotion, you're going to make the wrong decision, and the wrong decision leads to the wrong direction. But if you do this right, you're just a determined person. Distractions don't affect you. Now, if you do this right, your decisions are only based on the direction you're going, not on decisions that you think it will get you in the right direction.
Wow.
And so I just did what God told me to do in the early days. He just told me put all my pursuits towards ministry. Let me tell you, it wasn't easy financially when I did it. In fact, for 20 years it was a struggle.
Yeah.
But then God started showing me because I started asking Him, but I never changed my direction. Never changed my direction.
That's good.
But I have friends that change their direction because just the money itself was a distraction.
Yeah.
And they made decisions that pulled them off of the direction.
Wow.
And so as a result, they're not even going in the direction of what their call is because they think now that this is what God said. No, he didn't. You allowed that thing to distract you. So there's all kinds of problems in there.
Wow.
There's all kinds of problems. Just be determined and you'll stay on the right direct path.
Wow.
Those you can cut out all that middle stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't have to make a decision after I made the decision really to say, Lord, I'm going to go with you. I didn't allow distraction to come in. Then all of a sudden there was no more decision. It was done.
Wow.
Where most people don't. They determine their decisions.
Kind of in closing, it's time for us to
Yes.
shut down. But to me, when you say that, I see the word sacrifice always kind of looming behind it all. That word sacrifice.
There's always a sacrifice. You
hard.
cannot.
They're hard, Pastor, sacrifice.
Yeah, sacrifices are hard because there's no such thing as a facing your future and attaining that future. There's no way to face the goal of what it is that you desire and to attain that vision that you have if you're not willing to make sacrifices.
That's good.
And most people that make the wrong decisions, this is the honest truth, it's because that was the easier path, but they'll find that that path does not lead to the vision.
Whoa.
Every one of them that I've seen that mess up. Well, that decision, well, I can't afford to do this. Oh, well, then forget the vision then. That's going to have to come when you're okay with sacrificing. Now, am I saying you have to be poor? And no, I'm just saying but if you'll stay the direction, God will also help you make sure that you're taken care of and provided for.
There it
but
is.
if this is what he told you, then that's all there is. When you look at Abraham, when he was pulled out of his country, he was like 19 years old when God told him he'd be the father of many nations.
Yeah.
Do you realize all the things that transpired? He ends up going to battle, then he gets married, then all of a sudden God started to increase him because he was going in the right direction. He wasn't wealthy at the very beginning. He became wealthy because he went in the right direction.
80 years of going in the right direction before getting a promise.
Right, before even receiving
80
the
years.
promise. Exactly. The vision that we have is worth the sacrifice that we have to also be willing to offer to God in our own for personal lives. And so that's what I've done. And I say me, it's been me and Cindy, my wife, Pastor Cindy, and my children with me. And you know what? It hasn't always been easy, but man, it's been the most productive and prosperous life that I could have ever achieved. Therefore, that in itself is success. And so today we don't struggle like we used to. The struggle's not there like it used to be. But I stayed focused and on the course. That's the key.
Wow.
That's the key.
That is a good closer for this
Oh, that's a great
podcast,
one.
Pastor.
Yep. I agree. So look, if you have a struggle, you know that God's pulled you towards something. There's something you're just naturally prone and drawn to. First of all, I would just say, look, make sure it's a God idea and a healthy one for your life. And then when you pursue it, just be determined, I'm going to stay focused on the goal. That's it. God will take care of everything else in the path. Amen. That's why it says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Then all these things will be added.
There it is.
In other words, he'll take care of all your needs. Go read that passage and he talks about he'll take care of all the needs. But what's your first focus? The kingdom of God and his righteousness. You'll be blessed if you'll take that in. And I tell you right now, definitely like this. Definitely share it. Definitely give us a good comment, I hope. Anyway, we love you and you have a blessed day.
Amen. God bless.
Thank you to all our incredible supporters for your generous contributions. This episode of Power Talk Podcast is proudly brought to you by Paul Chicotto Ministries. At Paul Chicotto Ministries, we are passionate about making a global impact. We support a variety of ministries around the world, including Teen Challenge, Harvest Now Ministries, and the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. If you feel led to give and join us in this mission, please visit paulchicottoministries.com. Thank you for being a part of our community, and we'll see you next week.